Jaime
Let's do it.
Munguia. We loved his Dermachenko fight. That was a fight of the
Banger.
year classic.
Knocks out John Ryder this
Yeah.
year.
Does it better than
He's on-
Canelo did against
doesn't-
Ryder, which is a huge storyline this week. What do you think about the fight itself, the matchup, and finally Canelo fighting another undefeated young rising contender?
There's so many different names that could have gotten called instead of Steve Erceg. Let's be real.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Hurt Business Podcast. As always, I'm one half of the host. My name is Ferris Big Hurt Sharari, and I'm joined today by my co-host
Josh, real bad man.
And with today, UFC 301 is in Brazil, and a truly just disappointing card, if I'm being completely honest with you. I don't know how you follow UFC 300 with this, but we're getting a world title fight, so we shouldn't be complaining too much. But aside from
one.
Yeah, and aside from that, we got Cinco de Mayo weekend, which entails Canelo Alvarez fight week. Different one this time around. He's fighting a fellow Mexican.
Undefeated fellow Mexican, Jaime Munguia.
Jaime Mungia in a fun undercard. Those are the big fights this weekend. We'll talk about that. But first, I want to kind of ask you a few questions, brother. Did you see what's been going on with Floyd Mayweather this week?
No, I haven't. I don't keep up with this goon, bro.
I know you don't.
I mistakenly keep up with him. What I mean by that is it has to pop up on Twitter, and then I'll just check it out. I'm not actively searching anything up Floyd Mayweather related because he's a buffoon.
Yeah.
He's fake. He's fake. He plays every side. He doesn't have a team. He's just disgusting. He's shameless, but continue.
Well,
I'm curious.
The story gets better. In 2024, it's been said, Tank came out on Twitter talking about Floyd is stuck in Saudi Arabia. He cannot leave. And since there's been multiple sources confirming that Floyd is literally being held hostage in Saudi Arabia because not for like any boxing reasons or because they don't want, it's because he owes money apparently.
Really? The Saudis don't play.
They don't play, and apparently they're holding him. They're not letting him leave until, of course, he pays up, and he's money May, so he should. He should have it. No, you money May.
I've actually seen this, but
May, baby.
Yeah, he needs to pay up if he got the money, right?
You know, you spent your whole career bragging about all these hundreds of millions you've made per fight.
Where's the money?
Where the money at, brother? Why are you getting stuck? And apparently it's like on some gambling stuff. Like he apparently, I don't know, bet a purse that he can't, you know, he betted his mouth, betted check that his ass. What is that saying? I can't get that shit out. Whatever. But it was funny to me that Tank, who was his former fighter, came out and exposed him like that to the world. Just nobody knew. Nobody was questioning. Everybody's not even worried about Floyd not being in any of his gyms.
Well, you got to think. He's on the phone with Devin Haney. He's on the phone with Ryan Garcia.
Yeah.
And then he was just in the corner, Tank, like 2 fights ago, coaching him. Like
that's true. But that was also
what side does he play on?
Yeah, that's a fact. He really doesn't have no side. He kind of plays neutral. He's like the godfather of everybody. Everybody's just reaching advice.
It's crazy.
But where the money at, Money May?
Yeah, where's the money at?
Come back home, baby.
Nah, that's hilarious. I gotta read more about that. You think it's real though? You think
I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, all the sources are saying that it's true, but we do love to hype up a story that usually means nothing. So it could just be him just spending a shitload of time in Saudi Arabia. That could be
true as well. That could be true as well. But the Saudis, they don't really play around with that kind of shit. So you're stealing money from them. They're coming for you.
Yeah,
you're not leaving.
Yeah, you owe them. You're paying them.
You think he might be like a Mr. Krabs where he got bread, but he's just not trying to give it up?
You know, that's interesting. He might be.
He seems like that kind of dude, right?
Yeah, but he's also like a flashy, like really out there kind of guy at the same. Like he could, I don't know. Where are these M's at though? That's the big question, Money Man.
Come on.
But aside, enough on Floyd, man. He is a phony in 2024. He's flipping sides. He's all over the place.
Yeah, I agree.
But
He's
let's get
shaky.
on to the active fighters, the guys who are really throwing down this weekend. Do you want to do Canelo first or UFC?
Yeah, we could start with Canelo.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's
Jaime
do it.
Munguia, a guy you've been high on for some time.
Mhm.
We loved his Dermachenko fight. That was a fight of the
Banger.
year classic.
Banger. Knocks out John Ryder in his recent fight this
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
Crazy.
Does it better than
He's on
Canelo did against
does it
Ryder, which is a huge storyline this week.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Josh, what do you think about the fight itself, the matchup, and finally Canelo fighting another undefeated young rising contender?
I guess I should be I don't know. I said it like years ago when we talked on the pod when I was kind of big on him. And I always said he needs to get some better fights. He needs to get some better fights. And subconsciously I wasn't really thinking about, okay, is he getting better as he's fighting these, better opponents, right? He's gotten there with the Devchenko, he had a great fight a couple years ago against what was Buddy's name again? I always forget his name. He had an insane fight. I can't remember. What's his name? Gabriel Rosado. That fight was insane. That was like one of my favorite fights that year. And then he has an exceptional performance against Devchenko and then John Ryder, who, great point, big part of the storyline in this fight, right? Like Canelo had a very different outcome fighting him than what Jaime Munguia did to him. And Jaime made it look so easy. He just absolutely tore him apart, and John Ryder wanted no more of it, and eventually just got knocked out. But yeah, those are the questions I kind of thought about over the years. But then one of the things I always mention, and I still say it to this day. Unfortunately, I still say it to this day. Is that defense holding up? Is that defense going to hold up against a Canelo Alvarez who knows how to pick these guys apart, who knows how to put these guys in some dangerous situations and makes them overthink, makes them question their power, makes them question their speed, makes them question every decision they make in a fight? I'm not too worried about that with Jaime going into this fight. I'm really not too worried about that. And the reason why is we've got to see Jaime in some dangerous situations. And that man has gotten clipped. That man has gotten clipped in some recent fights, which is a good and bad thing, right? We've seen him take the damage. He has a good chin. No doubt about that in my mind, which doesn't really say much, because he is going up against a Canelo. So Canelo kind of brings that down, that level of, defense down a little bit for a lot of these guys. They can be very great defensively, and then they fight Canelo Alvarez. Nothing really matters at that point. But chin-wise, good chin on Jaime. But the defense, man, is just still not there, man. And I said it years ago in the Gabriel Rosado fight, where that fight was more of a slugfest, right? He was given a show for that fight, but then even after that, it was just like, all right, he's taking damage in some scenarios where he doesn't really need to take the damage. And that's where I was a little bit questionable about him. But I like him in this fight, man. I think stylistically, it is a great fight for him. He is a longer fighter. He's got a great resume. He's fought similar guys to Canelo Alvarez. He kind of has an idea, and he's Mexican, man. He's got that chin on him. That chin I'm not questioning that chin anymore. How does this fight go down, man? What do you think before I give any more input on it? What are we thinking? It's a tough fight honestly, before I let you go, it is a tough fight for both guys, though. Can we agree?
For sure. Absolutely. 100% a tough fight for both guys. A question did arise, though, with that last point you made about them both being Mexican. Is that like a culture thing that all Mexicans have chin, or is it just
They
like
have chins, man?
It got to be, right?
They got chins.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. And I recently heard that Max Holloway's Mexican too. So it just
Really,
it
just makes more sense.
It just all makes all the sense in the world. But yes, it is a tough matchup for both parties involved in this fight. I think it might be a bit more tricky for Canelo just because of the length and reach of Jaime Munguia. But in terms of like just experience being around, Canelo's done this for the past 2 decades almost.
Yeah.
So like I don't know if Jaime's experience levels is to par, if he's if he's gonna be able to show up on such a big card on a big night, headlining a Cinco de Mayo card against the biggest Mexican fighter in the world. Like, that's a lot of pressure for one man to hold. That 43-0, that zero's on the line, and that's like the most coveted thing when it comes to boxers, especially like at that level, the like that's what they sell. That almost becomes more valuable than a world title, is if somebody's like undefeated, nobody's touched them, nobody's hurt, nobody's gotten to beating them. Like, that's the most valuable thing in the sport, and he's cashing it in against Canelo Saul Alvarez. Are we doing predictions, or you got any more analysis on the fight?
Yeah, no, that was you said a lot of beautiful points there. Just kind of just going on to more of like the matchup itself. You know, Canelo's seen this type of fighter. I feel like he struggled with these kind of guys in the past. You know, obviously with Bivol, who was a little bit big on the heavier side. Not so much with Jermell Charlo, which is a fight I always kind of forget about in Canelo's resume, even though it was his most recent one. You know, he fought him perfectly, and he basically dismantled him in every facet. But Canelo can sometimes struggle with the reach, and I feel like if a fighter can keep that distance the whole time with Canelo and piece him up and find some good moments and, you know, survive and weather the storm, you know, I feel like that's the best recipe for beating Canelo Alvarez, which we've seen Bivol do so flawlessly. So, like, giving him the first loss in his career, you know, that's the blueprint right there. Or the second loss, I should say, against Bivol. That's like the blueprint right there.
Yeah.
That's the blueprint. You know, Bivol basically gave all the secrets in one fight. He exposed him in every facet.
Yeah.
Again, he is heavier. I will continue to say that, make that point for people who are like, oh, he was like 2 weight classes up, whatever. He still exposed him. And basically gave a blueprint on how to beat him. Can Jaime do everything that Bivol did? No, but Jaime does some certain things that Bivol does well. Distance, you know, good range, you know, has a good right hand, a decent left hook, you know, good footwork, can move around, but he gets hit too much for my liking. So I think that's going to be the biggest part in this fight, which I was mentioning, that defense. But he has a good chin to kind of hold it up. So predictions. My heart wants Jaime, man. My heart wants Jaime, but I just know it's going to be a tough fight for him. I can imagine some points in this fight, Jaime gets a little flustered. You know, he's going to try to figure out Canelo in the beginning. He's going to win some of these rounds in the beginning for sure. We all know that's how a Canelo Alvarez fight typically goes. He kind of figured these guys out by the third, fourth round. He's kind of going there and putting the blitz on some of these guys. But I feel like Jaime is going to have a lot of success early. You know, he's going to be very, very cautious. And then I feel like he's going to get hit with something really hard, man. He's going to weather the storm, and then we're going to get a slugfest, man. He's just going to be in the storm. He's going to say, fuck it, we're here. I've gotten hit. I've taken your best. And they're going to slug it out. I can imagine him standing and banging with Canelo, man. I can see it. Wow. I can see it now, man. I can see it. I'm predicting another Gabriel Rosado style fight here, man, with these two. I swear to God, Gabriel Rosado hits like a truck, man. And to see Jaime just stand there in front of him, it's Canelo, I know, but these guys are all they're all Mexicans, man. They all hit the same. Come on, let's be real.
Yeah, yeah. No,
but in all realisticness, it could be another masterclass for Canelo. I can easily see that happening as well. But like I said, my heart wants this to be a slugfest and Jaime to come out at the end of it. I think this will be a very humbling performance for Jaime Munguia, though. If I'm being a little bit more realistic, I think Canelo's going to piece him up, and with the footwork alone, like he's going to fluster Jaime with the footwork. Like, it happens to every guy in there. There's no way I can just say, oh, Jaime's going to figure out the footwork. Nah, Canelo makes these guys question everything they do, and that's a big part of boxing. Is if you can't get your shots off, you're basically defenseless, and he does it every time, man. So what am I predicting, man? My heart is going Jaime Munguia, but I think Canelo's going to win this fight, man. Yeah, like I said, the footwork and the power, I think it's enough. And Canelo's he's just a wild card, man.
Canelo.
He's so good at figuring it out, man. And he always figures these guys out. I don't know how he does it, man. He's a master at it.
It's Canelo Alvarez, man. He's the guy. He's been the guy.
Yeah.
Pound for pound guy, biggest star in boxing. He's done it
And
all. Go ahead.
and my last point, and looking at that fight with Bivol, even though it was a ass whooping,
Yeah.
it just goes to show you Canelo just doesn't belong in that division. He's the king at his weight class, and that weight was just too much for him. So that's like another thing to think about. Like Canelo's not washed, man. I know a lot of people are like, man, he ain't got it anymore. But look at his resume, man, and look at his fights after Bivol. He's still doing it, man. Like he's fighting Jermell Charlo. He had a good fight against John Ryder, Golovkin. He's still here, man. That resume speaks for itself.
Not to mention the guy's fought in 65 times at this point
65
professionally.
fights.
So like come on. The whole Walsh narrative, just because he has another loss out of 65 fights,
It's
two
crazy.
losses. Like, come on, guys, come on. We're just very wish-washy. He defended his belt at 68 last time around against Jermell Charlo. I agree that fight always kind of flies under the radar.
It does, doesn't it?
Just because I think Canelo was so perfect that night.
Yeah.
And we love to just criticize people's flaws, and we just look for all the fights he fucks up in.
Yeah.
And I don't know, he's fighting a big power puncher this weekend, a guy who you really can't get sloppy with.
No.
You predicted being like Rosado and Mungia, and the boxing fan in me would fucking love that. I would love every second of a slugfest. But to be honest with you, I think Canelo's too smart.
Yeah.
I don't think no version of Mungia and what he presents to the table is going to drag Canelo into a barn burner or a firefight.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's just going to be a disciplined, smart Canelo that moves around, lands his shots, picks his shots, and he just puts a pace and just works Mungia. And Mungia will just be trying to hunt those power shots.
Yeah.
And unlike Ryan Garcia, I don't think he's going to find it.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be tough. It'll be tough. And I'm glad I mentioned Bivol, and I'm glad we had this conversation because it's crazy to think Canelo's only weakness is weight. Literally, the only reason he lost that fight with Bivol, in my honest opinion, is Bivol was just too heavy for him.
Yeah.
Too big, too heavy. Other than that, Canelo has not struggled with any fighter.
That's right.
Sometimes the range against some of the Russian guys he's fought or the Ukrainian guys he's fought. But other than that, he
just
doesn't have
G, bro. Just say Triple G. Just say it.
I know Gabe's gonna. If Gabe's listening, he'll love that one.
Yeah, say Triple
G. Triple G. But other than that, like he has no weaknesses, man.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't show any weakness in his fights.
Yeah.
Besides the weight, man. So
yeah, agreed.
That's all. That's all you go off of when you judge a Canelo fight.
Yeah, and I'd almost add to that point and say just size overall, because his only two losses, that one against Bivol and the other one against Floyd, at a much smaller weight class while he was on the way up physically. And they also had a hydration clause that no one ever mentions, like Ryan had against Tank last year. It's the same idea, and that resulted in a loss then. It resulted in a loss now. So I'd argue that size is always Canelo's downfall, just being too small or too big. Which leads me to my final prediction on this fight. I'm taking Canelo. I think this is his perfect weight class, 68, where he reigns supreme.
Yeah,
we've never seen anybody aside from Triple G really give him real troubles at this size.
Yeah.
And I'm going Canelo, man. I think he reigns supreme another Cinco de Mayo weekend. We love you still. I think this is a huge opportunity for him in a time where
biggest fight his career.
We wanted so many dudes. We were calling for Benavidez to get this shot. We were calling for that guy and this guy and that guy. And Jaime Munguia hit the lottery and he gets the red panty night.
I like it. It's cool. Let's go. I'll take it. Yeah, it looks like we got a pair of Canelos.
But the heart.
I'm wishful thinking. Yeah, but my heart wants the slugfest, man. I think.
Let's go.
I think it can happen, man. I think Canelo will be like, all right, let's do it. Cinco de Mayo weekend, let's fucking bang.
I love it. I
can imagine a world where that happens, but wishful thinking. Wishful thinking.
Yeah. Pretty fun undercard on this Cinco de Mayo Canelo card. Mario Barrios, Brandon
Figgy
Heartbreak return. the 147-pound killer that nobody wants to talk about is also on this card. Stadionis.
Yeah.
It's pretty stacked. Not really sure who these guys are fighting, so we don't really got to go in depth. Any of these three that you're like, gotta tune in. This is much watch. Nah,
I like Figgy just because he slayed your hero
come
at one
on.
point.
Had to.
So I know it stings.
I never forgot, man.
Nah, but I like these cards. I'll definitely be attending attending these fights.
You're in Vegas this weekend?
Nah.
Nah.
Be on the East. I'll be on the East. If you know what I mean.
Stream.
I'm staying East. I'm staying East with it. But I'll be attending. I'll be attending virtually.
Respect. Same here. I will be stream Easton.
Anyway, man, let's go to Brazil, man.
Let's do it.
We got a healthy set of fights here from Correct. We got quite a bit to talk about here. Pretty healthy, man. I'd say it's pretty healthy, man. We got an Australian man getting a title shot, man, against Alexandre Pantoja. And I know when I speak for a lot of people here, maybe not any Australians listening, if we have any Australians that listen to the pod, but there's so many different names that could have gotten called instead of Steve Erceg. Let's be real, guys. Let's be real. This guy has 3 wins in the UFC so far. Let me just paint the picture. 3 wins in the UFC so far. Yes, he had a pretty good knockout his last fight. He fought Matt Schnell, who was number 10 in the rankings. You know, he has 6 wins, or I don't even know, like 10 wins, or no, 7 wins prior to being in the UFC. Okay, so pretty healthy enough record, I guess, for the UFC, but still 3 fights in. But anyway, just so many different names we could have went here, right? Like we could have went Muhammad Mokaev, who rose from 7 to 6 in the rankings. 6 wins in a row. 4 of those wins were submission. Not to mention, his last was a unanimous decision against Alex Perez, which was a pretty boring fight. But nonetheless.
Who just came off a crazy knockout last weekend.
Just came off a crazy knockout. I'm glad you mentioned that. Where, I don't know, he's arguably had one of the hardest fights in his career recently. But he's still got 3 of those scorecards raised in his name. But you've also got Amir Abazi, who's number 3,
but also injured. I think
also injured.
Yeah,
but I think he's back. This was like a year ago.
Yeah, I don't know if he's back because he was supposed to fight. What's his name? Moreno.
Yeah.
When Moreno fought Roy Val, that was only like a few months ago.
Yeah, we won't talk. Yeah, that was like that's not that long ago. But fucking the Morenos. I mean, you could even argue Moreno, not really, but he's on a 2-fight losing streak right now. But
not to mention lost to Pantoja 5 times, 4 times, 10 times. Who knows how many times? Yeah,
quite a bit.
I love you, Moreno, though. You're my guy. I love you, bro.
But I mentioned Abir Abazi. I didn't know he's still not ready to fight. I don't know. But yeah, another great fighter, Manel Cape.
That's another one. You know who
Manel.
I think they must have gave it to the wrong Australian. What about Kai Kara?
Okay, so I was gonna mention that. That's a good point because I was gonna mention him, but I realized he did lose to Amir Abazi last year. Hasn't been back since. Why is that?
Okay, yeah, that's the problem.
Something's going on there. Yeah. So I didn't mention that.
Got to be coming off a win if you're gonna get a title fight. You got to at least come off a win.
Yeah. So that's why I didn't mention him, but maybe he's ready to go. But then I thought about it. I think he wants to fight Manel. And Manel definitely wants to fight Kai Kara.
Yeah, they're probably making that happen.
Manel is a better option, too, to fight Pantoja. He fought him once already. He fell short. But he is on a 4-fight win streak. Arguably 5. If you watch that Nicolau fight, it was a very close fight. It could have went either way. So we'll say arguably 5 fights in a row. You could have won. But 4 fights, and 2 of those were finishes. And he's the number 7. There's just so many better names. And I'm just thinking, why the fuck would Dana go with Erceg? What does he see in Erceg that is so you know what I mean? Great submission artist, has a great knockout. in his last fight. I won't deny that.
Yeah, that was
He's
clean.
definitely putting himself on the map. But there's just so many better fights. There's so many better fights here. And I always think back, Dana always does fights. He always does the fights that make sense for the most part. And then I'm thinking more about it. I'm like, half of these guys do not want to fight Pantoja. A lot of these guys want to fight like Kai Kara. Like a lot of these guys have beef and they want to fight each other. Is what I'm noticing. And majority of these guys are injured. So I'm thinking this guy was just the next best option. I really don't know what to say about this matchup, man. There's not much of a story here. He just came off a fight. These guys don't really. There's no story here. It's like it doesn't feel like a title fight, and majority of the title fights in UFC kind of make sense. You know, there's kind of a history there. You know, there's a lead up. This guy just got thrown in here. Like there's no way to hype this up. And I'm just thinking, dude, this is a pay-per-view event. Like in Brazil.
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't you want to make
remember,
this worth something?
Do you remember when Glover lost to Jamal in his retirement fight and nobody was in the stands?
Nobody remembers that.
That might happen midway through the video. Like there might be nobody in the stands just because like you only travel to Brazil once and this is what you bring us. Like if I'm Brazilian, if I'm like a diehard MMA fan out there, I'm like, really? Like I love Pantoja. I'm glad I'm gonna watch him fight.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I'm seeing Jose Aldo's return. That's awesome. But then like co-main
Jose Aldo,
like that's all y'all got. And I know you haven't seen this, like the lead ups, the vlogs, the embeddeds, the numbers. I've never seen them so low ahead of a pay-per-view.
Yeah, these are extremely low, I imagine.
Like I seen a countdown, which usually is in the hundreds of thousands within the first hour. Like days later, still at like 60K.
Yeah, it's pretty.
It's bad.
It's bad, man. It's really bad.
And that might be, I think we talked about this a few pods ago. Like when you put such a spectacular, amazing card together, so much on one night, you're bound to have a few of just, just like thrown together, like the leftovers almost, you know?
But I just feel like both of these guys are, Erceg should have had a couple more fights for one. And I just think that,
to bring it back to the original point.
It just seems like they just fucking threw this in here, man. Like it's just like, all right, here's a main event, you know. Let's have that. We'll have it in Brazil just because we need it to happen. Like Pantoja just came off a great performance against Royval back in December. Like, arguably we could have seen him take another month or two off and gotten a much more worthy opponent and a much better event from it. This just seems this event just seems so fucking like sloppy and put together, like so shitty. I hate it.
If they pulled Pantoja off this card, it was like, no, we'll save you. Who else is headlining in Brazil?
I mean, that is a good point.
There
are no more Brazilians. You have to have a Brazilian headline for sure.
You got to. And I think original plan was like whenever John Jones and Conor were in the conversation about getting the headlining slot at 300, this was originally Alex and Jamal's fight. That's a way better main event with like Pantoja co-headlining. That would have been an awesome card,
potentially against like Kai Kara or Amir Abazi. If they were ready to fight.
I think like there was a different opponent. I can't remember who it was, but there was supposed to be a different guy in this slot. They got injured. Erceg stepped up. It was one of those. But yeah, they pulled Alex off this card. That's what fucked it up. If Alex was on this card against Jamal, like that return, that situation would have made this such a funner fight week.
It wasn't Askarov, was it?
That
would have been. I don't know. It might have been Askarov. And you know what's crazy? Askarov beat Pantoja. That would have been kind of nice to have, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Oscar. I don't even.
Was it not Askarov? Askarov recently lost a fight. I can't remember who it was from.
Ranked game.
Askarov? Are you kidding me?
He's not in these flyweight rankings.
I thought I maybe saw his name, but that's just speculation. I thought I saw him.
Yeah.
But yeah, he beat Askarov. I mean, I don't know where he's at now. After his loss to Kai Kara. You remember that fight? He fought Kai Kara like 2 years ago. He was the guy. I remember you definitely took Kai Kara in that fight. I had Askarov just because Askarov was like a beast. I thought he was a great matchup. But Kai Kara destroyed him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, maybe it was him, but I don't know. But then again, right? Even if he's not in the rankings, fucking Steve Erceg was like number 11 before coming into this. Like he's in no better position too. Like he wasn't even top 10.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. It was fishing. Dana White and the UFC brass. They were just trying to fun. They just tried to save the card, and they're still putting on a show. So we're still got a pay-per-view event, but it was some Make-A-Wish Foundation sort of luck, man. And I think Erceg is really good, but like maybe too soon. Like, can we continue building him up?
Yeah, I do think he's good too, but I just still think they could have made a better event. Saving this card or maybe pushing it or delaying it. I don't know. But anyway, man, Pantoja versus Erceg, two completely different style fighters. I'm interested to see how this goes down just because this will be the hardest fight of Erceg's career. I don't see anybody on his resume that really screams out to me where I can say, okay, it's a pretty good matchup for him, stylistically. But like I say, he just doesn't have enough for me to go off of what he's done. And yeah, he's had that great knockout against Matt Schnell, but Matt Schnell is kind of like an up and down fighter. He has a great fight here and there, but then mostly it's, he's got some he's on the rough end of some bad performances, but nonetheless, I think it'll be an interesting fight, just because you got a lengthier guy as a flyweight. We don't really see that much. Got some power on him, which will give Pantoja some problems, but we don't really see the flyweights with like insane power like that, but so it'll be interesting, and I don't think Pantoja's really been knocked out like that, so I'm not really questioning his chin too much. The only thing that I was ever really skeptical about Pantoja was him on the fence against Askarov, who's a Russian wrestler, doesn't really say much, but he put a clinic on him, and he showed some weaknesses there. But I don't really see Steve Erceg taking him down and putting him in those tough situations. I can see him being dangerous on the ground for sure. He's definitely a submission artist. He can definitely work on the ground, but not enough. There's not enough blueprint here, man, for like us to go off of, man. And Pantoja's just been in there with everybody, man. Like every flyweight you can think. So win or lose. So I think safely I can go with a Pantoja here. It just always sucks, right? It's like I want to see more out of these guys and make it more of like a fight, but it just doesn't really seem like much of a fight here. You know what I mean? It's like we said, it's kind of all right. Here you go, man. We got nobody else here.
Yeah,
you're fighting in Brazil, and he's like, "Fuck yeah, I'm doing that." So it's like good on him, right? It's like he's basically skipping the entire line, and he hasn't fought any of these guys yet. His best opponent was Matt Schnell, so good on Erceg, man. I wish him luck. Pantoja is not a hard feat,
easy.
Kind of.
He's not an easy feat.
He's not an easy feat, exactly.
Yeah.
And Pantoja kind of does everything well, right? He's a very, very well-rounded fighter. Has a good chin on him. Can kind of put all these guys in all different scenarios, whether it's on the fence. He has enough power where he can hurt these guys and put some of these guys out. And I don't question that coming into this fight either, man. I really don't.
Yeah.
I think he's going to get it done.
Agreed 100%. And Pantoja's style is so fucking fun, man.
Yeah. I love the guy.
I love him too, man.
All right, dude.
All right, dude. That was funny, dude. I'm a fan of his style, and I don't think the world is really too familiar with him. I think that like the ones who really watch the sport, we're hip, right? Yeah. But the casuals, they don't know about Pantoja. They know Alex Oliveira. They know Charles Oliveira. See how I do this name bullshit? You gotta catch me.
You always
You gotta be like, fucking idiot. That's not.
Nah, I just want to let you do your thing.
Respect. Appreciate that. But the world knows like the Charles Oliveira's, the Alex Pereira, like they know the super famous ones, but like right below them is a guy named Pantoja who's been dominating the flyweights ever since he entered the UFC. Like you said, there's not much to base off of how to beat him, and I agree. Like the dude is just awesome on the feet, awesome in the clinch, awesome in the ground. A little too soon for Erceg. I think the dude's also really good, great at submissions. He has, I think, 11-fight win streak. He has a lot of momentum, but Pantoja's a motherfucker, man. He's a motherfucker. So I'm going Pantoja in this one. I think there's not a world where Erceg wins unless he catches him in the stand-up. But I don't even think Pantoja is gonna like give him the chance.
Yeah, to clip him.
Yeah, like it's like it's always a possibility. It's always there, but like I don't know. Royval couldn't do it. Royval couldn't even find his range at all against Pantoja. And that's a credit to how good this guy is, right? That's how good Pantoja is. And I'm going Pantoja. I think he might even catch Erceg and finish him.
He can. He's done it before to these guys, so he's got the power in flyweight. Like I said, the flyweights don't usually have that much power of recency, but you know these guys they still got hands, man. Like you get hit clean, man. You're still gonna go out, but I don't know. Pantoja's just on another level, man. I don't see any way these guys are beating him anytime soon, man. Yeah, there's really no blueprint on it. He does everything so well. It's so rare that you have a fighter that can do everything well. You know what I mean? Like he's a jack of all trades, but like he's not like just decent at everything. Like he excels at everything.
He's really good at everything.
He excels. Yeah, exactly.
He's a motherfucker, bro. I'm telling you.
You wouldn't have mother.
I like it, dude. I like saying when somebody's a motherfucker, bro. You got to let him know.
He is a motherfucker, bro.
There we go.
He be fucking, dude. He be fucking live on television, man. Yeah. Shout out East. Shout out to East.
He be fucking fighting.
Oh, no Diddy.
All right, Co-Main, the king of Rio de Janeiro.
This guy's still fighting?
He's still fighting. I thought he was in retirement, but he's like, I'll come back. I'll make this card interesting. I'll fight another guy who loves throwing leg kicks.
Yeah.
Like what a matchup. I mean, it's a pretty fun match. It's stylistically, it's a fun matchup. It's just Jose Aldo's like,
yeah.
Didn't he just do a boxing fight? Wasn't he boxing? I didn't know you can like leave the UFC to do boxing and then come back in the UFC and co-main. Like that's his like legendary shit right there. No,
I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if I'm just daydreaming, but I'm pretty sure I already seen Jose Aldo put those gloves in the middle of the octagon. Am I bugging? Did he not already do that?
Yeah, bro, he retired.
Did he not? Did he not? I swear to God, people call me crazy. Like, bro, he never did that. I swear he did, bro. Yeah. I swear that footage is wiped, bro.
Didn't he get wiped the fight to the Hall of Fame already?
Yeah, he's still
Remember
fighting. That shit? Yes.
Yeah, I didn't know you can get inducted and be like, you know what? I'll fight again. And it's not even like he's fighting for like a BMF or a world title. He's fighting just like
for nothing.
The 12th ranked bantamweight
for bread at this point. Like he's just fighting for money.
Yeah, that boxing bout probably wasn't paying.
Yeah, I don't know. But then you look at him over the years, right? Like, we'll say of recent years, right? You know, he's beaten Marlon Vera. You know, he's beaten Rob Font. He's beaten Pedro Munoz.
Yeah, for sure.
His last loss was against Marab, which is not saying much. Yeah, when you look at his resume as a whole, it's not really saying much. It's just more of like, when you watch him fight, it's like, why are you still doing this to yourself? Like,
cut the weight. Like you went down in weight as you got older.
It's
usually the opposite, my friend.
Yeah, I don't know what his angle is here, man. I don't think he doesn't have it anymore to beat any of these guys. To beat any of these guys in the bantamweights.
Yeah,
like
I don't know. I just
like the number 12. It's like, okay, you beat him. What's next? You're gonna fight the number 10 and lose?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know with the angle here. Like, why not give him a
An
fellow
old
legend.
man fight. Yeah.
Yeah, an old man. Like, give him somebody who's on their way out as well, not somebody who is on their way up. Could fight for a world title in a few years. Like, we don't know how good Jonathan Martinez is at that level yet. But
Yeah.
Jose Aldo is not a test in 2024. Respectfully, like
Yeah.
you're not like a gatekeeper. I don't think with a win he's cracking the top 15. I don't even think he gets a win.
Nah. To be I don't even know anymore, man, with the Jose Aldos. But like I said, like he's not losing to bad guys, right?
Yeah,
But I still just question why almost 2 year layoff. It's been a year and a half. Why come back and fight the number 12? That's my biggest thing right now. This man has not fought since Merab.
yeah.
Why come back after this? Why come back a year and a half later?
Yeah. It's been 2 years. You only got older. And Merab fight, you got dominated in that fight.
Dominated, man.
Yeah, and then he retired right after that one.
He retired in that fight. I don't care what anybody says. He retired in that fight.
Did.
I saw those gloves in the center.
I'm not trolling, bro. He legit did boxing. He was legit boxing. I swear to God. You can look it up. He was boxing, man.
Anyway, man. Predictions. I mean, I'm going Jose Aldo.
Yeah.
We're fucking shitting on the guy.
Yeah. Gotcha.
We're fucking shit on this guy, dude. I'm cashing it, dude. I'm going Jose Aldo. I'm not betting against him. I don't give a fuck if he hasn't fought in a year and a half. His resume speaks for itself. Yeah, his fast twitchings is completely gone. His speed is gone, but the power stays there, man. And he's gonna get a knockout in Brazil, man. He's got the power of the Brazilians. And this, I don't know what that was, but
he's trolling. I'm trying to read between the lines here. Keep going.
He's winning, bro. I'm telling you, he's winning this fight. I don't give a fuck what anybody has to say. I don't care who this fucking Jonathan Martinez is.
All right.
He ain't got no fucking resume. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. So why shit on Jose for 15 minutes with me?
Yeah, I don't know.
And pick him.
When you look at Martinez's resume, he's knocked out some questionable guys.
Yeah. Nothing to brag about.
He beat some Russians.
Nothing to brag about, but after Saturday, he'll have the King of Rio de Janeiro on his on his smash list. Respectfully, I'm going Jonathan. I'm going Jonathan Martinez, man. I love Jose Aldo. He's been a part of so many massive fights for the sport, but it's 2024, brother.
You put the gloves down, man. Why pick him back up?
Yeah, stay boxing, bro. Go beat up Jake Paul or something.
You know who else I vividly remember dropping the gloves? John Jones.
I thought you were going to say. You know what I thought you were going to say?
Who?
Anthony Smith.
Yeah. It's crazy. I thought about it. Dude, I thought about it.
Funny as fuck.
Dude, I literally thought about it, but then I thought John Jones would be so much funnier. But
yeah.
Fuck, I missed the ball on that one, didn't I?
Yeah, John Jones one did not hit. My family.
I swear to God, I've seen Anthony Smith lookalikes in the past 2 months on UFC cards. This dude's fighting every month, bro.
Yeah, he is. His what they call that shit? Doppelganger. What's that shit called? Doppelganger?
Doppelganger, yeah.
His doppelganger got a huge KO last weekend, Ryan Spann.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's another one I was talking
Ryan
about.
Spann did a bad one. I was like, damn, Ryan. And I had Ryan going into it as we talked about on the pod.
I definitely didn't.
Yeah, I did, man. And it felt like he was gonna win that fight until he got clipped. But anyways, Ryan
Twitter, by the way, was having a field day. I honestly, this is news to me. People don't like Ryan Spann, apparently.
Why?
They think he's overhyped. Because he had a lot of hype, I guess, coming in, and people were like, I just don't see it. It always happens, man, when you have these guys come from like a different sport, or like these guys are starting fighting late in their life or whatever, and they get a few knockouts, and people are like, man, that shit ain't nothing.
Yeah.
It always happens. They did it to dude, I always forget. I do this every time.
I know exactly.
Dude, that fought John Jones. Football player.
That poor dude, man. That poor dude. The legend.
They did it to other dude too. He was in the NFL. He's a middleweight. I'm not gonna remember his name. But he was a
Middleweight.
middleweight. He was in the NFL. I'm pretty sure, or he played college football, something like that.
Yeah. Oh,
And
what's his name
and
was?
Izzy killed him.
Brendan Schaub was a former football player too.
British Shaw, but dude, I'm telling you, these guys that don't have a history of fighting, they get clowned every time they come
They
to
get
UFC.
clowned.
Every time.
Yeah.
Telling you, it just is what it is. But let's get to Anthony Smith. He's got a quite the guy.
Quite the matchup on his wrestling. And
this guy, we recently had this guy. I remember that wild card pick I had literally like a month and a half ago. Tyson Pedro versus Vitor Petrino. I was like, dude, Tyson, my dog, he's gonna get it done.
I made that clip. Remember that clip was good.
It was a good clip.
Your boy got toasted.
This man got starched.
Yeah, he said, "I retire."
I hand my gloves.
Yeah, that's a guy who put his gloves right in the center. You definitely didn't daydream about that one.
But no lie though, that was some sad shit at the end though. To hear him in the post press conference talk about how, man, the sport just like was not making me enough money, stuff like that. So you kind of feel for a guy like that, right? It's the unfortunate truth with these guys just not getting paid enough and putting their bodies and their lives on the line, essentially. Separated time from his family. You know, there's a lot of shit that goes on behind the scenes, which I have a lot of respect for these fighters, man. As much as we may clown and joke and say some shit, you know, we're just having a good time, you know. We're enjoying ourselves. We know what these guys do behind the scenes. So Petrino by murder though. Petrino by absolute decapitation. I don't think I'm ever betting against this guy again. I see him being a very, very healthy contender for these light heavies, man, in the near future. Anthony Smith is he's losing it. He's getting a little old.
My wife, you're taking my kids.
Johnny was like, huh?
Says, "Mama, I fight.
I fight."
Oh man, Johnny Walker, man, what a legend. But yeah, I agree. I don't even really got much to add. Anthony Smith has not looked good recently.
In the past 3 years, he's not good.
And Vitor has looked spectacular in his last one. So by default,
and the ones before that,
I'm going Vitor, man. And another big Brazilian power puncher. Count me in.
I'm with it. Yeah, that's
there's not really much on this card that I to talk about. I mean, there's a fun middleweight matchup. Paul Walker opening the card against the
Paul Walker, dude.
Damn.
Come on, dog. Nah, you did that on purpose. You did.
Bro, I swear, we were just talking about Johnny Walker. That was yeah, that's crazy.
Nah, this is Kaio's. He's excellent, man.
Yeah,
this will be a fun one. You know, Paul is he's a wild card. He finds a way to get that guillotine every time. But Caio is no slouch, man. He's tough, man. He's a fucking animal. So I think Kyle might knock him out, to be honest.
Me too, dude. Me too.
I see a world where Paul gets knocked out on Saturday.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are like, nah, man, that guillotine's coming.
I mean, a submission could be it could be a triangle. It could be
it could be that triangle.
It could be so much. Paul's like one of the best submission artists in any weight class he touches in. But I just personally, I haven't seen anything from him at middleweight that's telling me this guy got it. There were moments at light heavy where I was like, this guy's a fucking beast, right? He gets you in his guard. It's like, good luck. He can do so much in that spot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going Chow. How you say it?
Caio.
I'm going Caio as well. My guy, he's a big power puncher. He reminds me almost of like Borrachinha.
He looks like, dude, I was just about to say he looks just like.
Yeah. He like looks like him, and like his fight style is like very stand-up heavy, like march forward, power punching.
Yeah.
Got some fucking cool tattoos. That fight or die on his arm. I mean, it's so simple. It's like you would draw it on the side of your notebook. I love it.
Yeah, nah, he has some interesting tattoos on him. I think he's a character for sure.
Yeah, he is.
His coach used to box. His stand-up coach. Fun fact. He used to
Alright.
box. Wasn't the best boxer, but he's never lost, which is
Man,
crazy.
that is a fun fact.
Just a fun fact about his stand-up coach. He was a pretty good boxer, but he just didn't box for too long. But he has legit 3 KOs in like 5 fights.
I'll take
He's pretty decent. But
Yeah.
he's got a great stand-up coach. Like the guy is pretty well known in Brazil. A lot of guys go to him. So
Yeah, it'll be a banger for sure. Anybody else on these prelims? I see a few matchups on here that are kind of gauging my interest. Anything on here that you're like, I'm locked for this one?
I'm absolutely not locked. I think I'm only turning this card on for that main event. We talked about this whole podcast. I think I'm only tuning in for Pantoja. Nah, no lie. I don't know. Nothing's really. Most of these are going to be on while Canelo's fighting Mungia, so it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I
It's
mean
not going to happen.
it'll be running on Brazil's schedule. So the early prelims, I think they start at 4.
Okay.
That might be wrong. Let me see. Yeah, the early prelims start at 3. Normal prelims 4. Main card 7.
I didn't think about that. That is true. It is in Brazil.
Yeah, so the timings might be a little off. For me, I'm very, very excited about Jack Shore. I think that dude's wicked good. He's coming off a loss. Who did he lose to, though? Or no, he lost to Simon, and then he came back and he got a submission win, and now he's making another return against a Brazilian in enemy territory. He's coming in at an underdog, and I might sprinkle a little cheddar on that one. It's a fun line. It's a fun line, and headlining the prelims. I think that's a big feat for Jack in Brazil again against enemy territory. It's exciting shit in that one.
I haven't watched him since that big British card they had a few years ago. You remember that card?
Yeah.
That card was insane. It had I think it was in the UK. It had a ton of British guys on there. It was the one Topuria was fighting what's the guy's name? Herbert. He knocked him out. Remember that card?
Yeah,
that card Shore was on. That was my introduction. That was everybody's introduction to Shore. And he won that. He won that fight. That was the last time I ever seen him, though.
Maybe not everybody's, but yours for sure. Yeah.
Mine for sure. Yeah, but yeah, I'll be tuning in. I honestly forgot about his name until you mentioned it. So he just came back. So.
Yeah, Jack Shore is legit. And there's a few other matchups. We don't got to go into depth, but we were shitting on it, and I think it deserves to be shot on all in all card. But like, it could be worse.
Yeah, but we've had some worse cards this year.
We definitely had some worse cards, but yeah, let's just leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that. If you made it this far, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate your time. Always tune in next week. We'll be talking about the results of these fights we were talking about. Mungia, Canelo, Topuria. That came out.
Max.
We were just talking about Topuria. I think that's why I slipped out. I'm having the fucking Ferris syndrome where I'm like,
damn. Is it running off on you?
Yeah, man. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Should be mixing up, gang. That's crazy. I didn't know it was contagious.
Nah, but tune in next week, man. We're gonna be talking about all these fights. Always follow the pod.
Amen.
Follow the pod, man. Show some love. You know, give some reviews if you're fucking with it. You know, tune into the YouTube. A lot of these will be on YouTube where you can see our faces, our beautiful faces. Or if you listen on Spotify or Apple or wherever you find the podcast, that's fine as well. You know, tune in, and we'll see you guys next week.
Wrap this bitch up, gang.
Oh, you can't add that.
Nah. I'm gonna cut that part out. Yeah, you got the last word right there. Yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah, bro. These pods been fun, man.
You gonna hit stop?
Oh shit! I didn't hit stop yet. Let me pull my meat out first.
What
happened? You trying to give me a thumbnail?
You have plenty of thumbnails to work with,
bro. But like, you be so little.
What?
Like
there you go.
Pete. You peep where I'm sitting. You see how like there's still half of the screen.
You want me to be?
Yeah. Now look at the camera though. You look like that the dog Devin sent me in that emoji, like that side eye.
Hell nah.
Hell nah. No. Put the mic down. Don't put it in your face, guy. We can't see it. There we go. There he is. Oh. Perfect. Smile. Yeah, I'm gonna put that creepy smile.
Do not put that creepy smile.
Let me get an actual smile. Tickle.